I accepted um, you to come up, brother, but then you popped in, you left. It must be something on your end. Oh, he wasn't trying to come up. Okay, I got you. No problem. Got a little bit of a cough today. Okay, brother, ask your question. So I believe in microevolution, and that's what you're referring to as adaptation. Um, so I do object to the word microevolution being part of evolution, but that's what everybody literally knows it as. So I use that word microevolution. But yes, adaptation is just microevolution, changes within the same genetic kind. And I think obviously that makes perfect sense. Anything outside of micro, though, like macro, we don't see that. So changes within the genetic kind, absolutely. Anything outside of that is not testable and observable. That's not part of science. All right, I'm gonna change this prompt up, see if we can get some more interest. Let's see. The Don, what's up, man?
How's it going?
Hey, what you got?
Well, we know the first two things in your prompt are false.
We do, huh?
Yeah.
How do we know that?
Well, evolution is considered a scientific fact.
I'm pretty sure it's still considered a scientific theory.
What's a scientific theory?
Something that's not yet a fact.
Are you sure about that? Do you want to Google that real quick?
Why don't you just skip to the part where you give me the evidence for evolution?
Well, no, it's important we define the words we're talking about, right? If you don't know what a scientific theory is,
sure.
You're
so let me define.
Fundamentally misunderstanding.
Sure. So let me define what we're talking about then. So for evolution to be true, I grant microevolution, but I don't see anything outside of micro. So for macro to be true, I would need to see genetic information gain. Genetic because it's got to be passed on to generation. Information because it needs to be new structures, new code, new function, new DNA. And then it obviously has to be gained from something that wasn't there before. And you and I would agree more than likely that if we went from a single-celled organism to a fully functional human, genetic information gain happened literally quadrillions of times. Can you provide evidence of that happening that's not inferred but testable and observable?
So one step at a time, right? We've skipped. So what's a scientific theory?
All right. Thanks for coming, man.
Yeah, so you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what I'm talking about. I just want to get to the evidence, and you want to play in semantics. This is the reason why I knocked him real quick, guys, is because I know where it's going, and guys like that want to get stuck on a definition. And I'm not going to get stuck on your definition because then you're going to claim that microevolution is macroevolution, and obviously I'm not going to concede that. So, anyway, what's up, man?
My question is, what do you think that like thousands, millions of little microevolutionary processes that happen over the span of many, many years, what do you think that is?
Microevolution?
Yeah. So what would be the symmetry breaker between micro and macro evolution for you?
I would need to. I just defined it. I wouldn't. Did you hear me? And I'm not being sarcastic. If I just need to say it again, I will. It's not a problem. But
if I remember, you said new genetic information must be generated.
Yeah, genetic information gain would have to be the minimal standard.
Why? And what does that mean?
Okay, I'll define it again. So genetic, because you got to be able to pass it on to the next generation. Information as far as new structures, new code, new function, new DNA, and it has to be gained from something that wasn't there before. So you would agree, I would imagine, that if we went from a single-celled organism to a fully functional human, there was quadrillions of time that genetic information gain happened. I just need an example of that that's testable and observable, that's not inferred. Because what I do is when I talk to these evolutionists, I do this a lot. They always either give me an example of microevolution or they give me an example of degradation and then claim that that's evolution. And degradation clearly could not be a part of evolution.
What I would say is, like, from a single, like, okay, if we were talking about a single cell organism going to a fully functional human over the span of a billion years, I would say that is due to cell multiplication and modification. I don't see why new information is. I don't even know what that really means. New information. Like, I know what you're implying, but I don't know, like, biologically what that would mean.
Yeah, that's because it doesn't.
And how that would happen.
That's right. It doesn't happen. That's the point. That's why this question's so hard for evolutionists to answer, because it doesn't happen. You guys want to keep showing us a trait that already exists, that's isolated or encouraged or discouraged, or you want to show us degradation and then claim that that's evolution. That's the problem.
I mean, look, I get what you're saying, but I feel like the same, or it's not that I feel like, what we can demonstrate is that same function can happen due to cell duplication, multiplication, and modification. I don't understand why you think there has to be, like, totally new alien. Alien is in, like, extraterrestrial, but, like,
I don't understand how no disrespect, I don't understand how you don't understand it. Because duplication, modification, and I forget the third thing you said there, are literally just taking something that already existed. And so if I took the DNA that codes to build my arm and I duplicate it 50 million times, I'm going to get 50 million arms. That's not evolution.
It gets modified. Unless some of the duplicated cells get modified over years.
Right.
Duplicated DNA structures get modified over the years due to environmental selection.
I get it. And everything that we observe in that is always within the same kind. It doesn't produce any new information. It takes existing information and helps the traits that are already there. Like, for example, long hair, short hair. It doesn't create a new trait. It always takes an existing trait and either encourages it or discourages it. That's micro.
That's evolution.
Yeah, but it can't be. If you went from a single-celled organism, the information for an arm is not in a single-celled organism. It's not there. It's not in the DNA. So eventually, there had to be information gain for whatever organism you want to grant the common arm. I just need to see an example of that that's not inferred, but testable and observable.
Again, I would argue it doesn't have to be new information. I mean, that can be due to you're talking about on the time scale of, like, millions, billions of years here.
No, I'm not.
Single-celled organism. You're talking about over time these
it's
DNA
not
structures get
it's not time based,
modified.
brother. It's not time based. It's not. Evolution is not time based.
Time matters a lot.
No, it literally. Nope. Time doesn't do anything for evolution. It's not time. This is one of the hardest. There's two things that's really hard for me to get evolutionists to show them. One is degradation could not count as evidence for evolution. And two, evolution is not time-based. It's generational-based. It's not time. It's generations. It only seems like it's a long time. Right. It does take time if you're counting things like monkeys or apes or anything like that has one generation in a single year, and then you have to wait several years for that one to become mature. But we have things like bacteria that have 9 generations in a single day. And so we can see the same generational count that we went from monkey to man. We have seen that in the longest running evolutionary experiment called the Linsky experiment. So why is it that whenever we test and observe it, we always see degradation, but long ago and far away, it evolved?
Yeah. So what else? Well, I don't know what you mean by we always see degradation. For instance, how do you think new virus strands keep
coming out. I mean, you know what I mean? Things
Yeah,
like this.
They usually start from an old virus strand and then degrade. We saw this with the coronavirus. We see this with the flu virus. It changes, and a flu virus most of the time is just a upper respiratory infection. So that's why they have to come out with a new shot, because it's not the same every year. But these viruses that are the same, we see them degrade.
By what means?
Losing information, like we did with the coronavirus. We saw it went to the Omicron virus. It became more viral, but it lost information to do that. It's losing its genetic information.
Does that mean that it hasn't evolved?
Yep, it literally can't. That cannot be the definition.
No, that's not what that. If it became something different,
okay,
that's
let me ask you a question. If we started off as a single-celled organism, could we lose everything to get to where we're at today?
No.
Okay, then how about we say so? We've conceded that there has to be gain. So now we know that it has to be gain. If an
organism lost its DNA, it would no longer reproduce.
Thank you.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I know it doesn't make any sense. So stop using degradation. That's my point. It doesn't make any sense to show degradation.
Outside of an evolutionary point of view, that would not, like, genetically, that doesn't make any sense.
I know it doesn't, brother. That's
me. Like, my point is,
that's my point.
That's meaningless,
brother. That's my point. That's my point. Thank you for conceding. I believe that. It's absolutely ridiculous. So degradation.
Yeah, but that doesn't address anything about evolution. Like you just use an example of a single-celled organism losing its DNA. A very, 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 very simple organism losing its genetic data.
I'm just trying to get you.
Would not be very good for the single-celled organism.
Like
I said, so that I don't understand what your example is. It's meaningless in this.
All right. If you can't follow it ever, I don't know what to tell you. I might just have to move on. It's just a thought experiment to show you that we literally could not keep losing stuff, and you keep claiming that's evolution. If you can't follow that simple thought experiment, maybe I need to move on.
Well, mutations and evolution add information all the time. So
like
it's
what?
Not just
like
elimination.
What? Like what?
Like change, and also changing the DNA. We clumped the cells together and became multicellular organisms.
Clay. I'm not a flat earther. Don't throw.
I'm talking about Aloha's.
Okay, I don't care. Answer. I'm going to mute you up just for a second, because you're throwing like 50 things up against the wall and trying to hope one of them sticks. All right. So you made a claim that we went from a single-celled organism to a multicellular organism. Do you have any example of that that's testable and observable that's not inferred? You got to unmute yourself, Clay. There you go.
No, we don't have the first singular-celled organisms that became multicellular life.
Do we have?
There isn't fossil records.
Do we have
single-celled organisms?
Do we have any examples of single-celled organisms going into multicellular organisms today? Have we ever observed it?
No, we don't have.
So why do you believe that long ago and far away it happened, but now all of that's the definition of a miracle. It's literally only happened one time.
Yeah, it could happen in the future. We just haven't observed it because it takes millions and billions of years, and there are no fossil records of something that small.
It's not time-based, and yes, they did. They know about bacteria.
It is time-based. Evolution is inherently time-based.
No, evolution is not inherently time-based. It's generational-based. So if you could have 100 kids in 100 days, and they could have 100 kids in 100 days, it's not time-based. It's literally not time-based. Okay.
That's related to time. It's linear.
It's only that way because Clay, just give me a second. You only think that because you're looking at something that has a long generational count, like an ape. Most people assume that. But bacteria can have 9 generations in a single day. So it's not time-based.
100,000 generations, would that change the logic at all?
Say it again.
So if we just said 100,000 generations versus saying a few million years, would that make you feel better?
Yeah, it's not about making me feel better. It's about getting y'all to understand that it's It's not like every million years a switch is flipped like you see in the movies, the X-Men. Every 1,000 million years evolution jumps really quickly. So I just need to see that.
Is there any organism on this planet that would not have gone through an extreme number of generations over the span of a million years?
If I was to grant 1 million years, yeah, they would all have a lot of generational counts.
All right. So when we say things like millions of years, that implies basically is any organism that we've ever known to ever exist, that would be a lot of generations.
Yeah,
so,
now
quit playing this game.
No, what you're doing again, why is it, and I'll ask again, why is it in the same amount of generational counts where we went from monkey to man, why is it, or great ape to man, why, and there was millions of genetic information gains there. Why is it in the same generational count in bacteria, which should be extremely easy to see because it's a lot simpler, it should be extremely easy to see. Why is it that we get degradation? Long ago and far away, it happened millions and millions of times, but in the generational count that we observe, it doesn't. Say it again.
I mean, I'll give you one example. E. coli doesn't have. I mean, we don't really observe degradation with E. coli. We see it getting stronger every
no, we don't.
generation that we've observed.
No, it's the exact opposite, brother. Your claim is factually inaccurate.
All right. Do you want to look it up?
Yeah. Which one you want to go with?
Yeah, do you want to look up how penicillin is losing its potency because of how often we prescribe it? Antibiotics are constantly evolving. Changing.
That's great, Clay. Let me ask you a question to see if, because I know about it, but let me ask you just to see what you know. Did the antibiotic resistance predate the invention of antibiotics, or did it evolve because of antibiotics?
It hastened because of how we prescribe antibiotics.
I got you. That was like, I got a rules. So my rules are, and I don't have to go over it all the time, but my rules are answer questions directly and then expound. And if you make a claim, you have to be able to support it. And then obviously the third will be use TikTok language and we can have a conversation. All right. So I'm going to ask the question again. Please don't rephrase the question and then answer it that way. Just answer the question and then expound.
Okay. The answer to your question was implied with my response. I'm sorry. I have to spell it out for you. So go ahead and re-ask.
Yeah, you do, because if you just rephrase the question, then you get to kind of wiggle out of it. Clay, did antibiotic resistance predate antibiotics? Did the resistance predate the antibiotics? Okay, so
the way we prescribe them now hastened the problem.
How do you know it hastened it if we didn't? How do you know it hastened it if it predated the antibiotics? It wasn't found out until we invented antibiotics. So how do you know it hastened it? You don't have anything to compare it to before.
Yes, we do. We have the effect. We have the potency, the effectiveness of penicillin. We have kept record of this. Yes, we do.
No. All right. So let me ask you.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
I'm sorry you deny all of science.
All right, Clay, yes, I don't care for your ad hominems, dude. Stop monologuing. Let's just have a conversation. So did the antibiotic resist it? Does it do it through degradation or new information?
It's a mixture of both.
Right.
What happens is that it either adds information, takes it away.
Give me the example. Give me the example. Give me the example of gain, because it does it through degradation. The receptors that the antibiotics attach to have degraded. That's not information gained. Give me the one where information gained.
You can literally copy strains of DNA.
That's great. I'm going to ask you again. I know you I'm sorry you don't like science, and answer the question directly and then expound. Okay.
That is a direct answer to your question. You can literally copy a gene. One gene.
I said, give me the evidence, and you go into copying genes. That's not giving me the one that's information gained. Copied existing genes is existing information. It's not new, hero. It's existing copied information. That's literally not new. Oh, frustrating. What's up, Lawman?
Bro.
What's up, bro? You doing all right?
Haven't met you before, but yeah, I've dealt with Clay before on other lives. He's not here to have a conversation. He's here to stop a conversation. I would almost bet money that if you asked him if he's an atheist, the answer is yes. So you're trying to speak truth to somebody who's spiritually dead. That's really frustrating.
Yeah, I'll give him a little bit, and then I'll.
We're having a scientific discussion, not a theological.
Are you an atheist, sir?
Yes, I am, but I think that's irrelevant.
Okay, so that means you're spiritually dead, in my opinion, and you're going to try to have a conversation about things that are true.
Well, that's I like
That's
to.
great, sir. We're talking science.
Yeah,
not,
I like
not theology.
I like to have conversations with people that disagree with me, so you're fine.
Understandable. All right, bro. Have a great day. Good to meet you. I'll see you around.
All right, man. Appreciate you. All right. So going back to my conversation with that individual, for those of you in the comments, the bacteria becoming resistant to antibiotics does it through degradation. It is a loss of information. It does not do it through information gain. And the reason that they say that it's quote unquote getting more potent is because you can go to YouTube and it's a really great experiment, but they come to the wrong conclusion with the great experiment. So it's a camera sitting above a table, and on the table they have these strips of varying degrees of powerful antibiotics. All right, so it's like a football field. Think of it like a football field with these different sections, right? And on the ends of the table, they put the bacteria. They put the E. coli bacteria, and then they put them in like glucose or a medium they can eat and reproduce. And as they reproduce, obviously they spread across the table. And every 10 yards, if you will, like I said, just representing a football field, they put antibiotic strips down. And then after the 10 yard, it goes to the 20 yard. And on the 20 yard, the antibiotic doubles. And on the 30 yard, it triples. And on the 40 yard, it gets up to just like 1,000 times more powerful antibiotics. And then they put the bacteria on there and let them eat their way. So what happens is you see the bacteria hit the antibiotics in an instant wall. Almost 98% of the bacteria unalive because of the antibiotics. But there is one spot, like in the middle of the field, if you will, where you start to see the bacteria that's able to survive in the antibiotics, and they spread out. Their children have children, and their children have children, and that trait of the resistance gets multiplied and encouraged. And eventually, they can handle stronger and stronger and stronger antibiotics. And they say this is evolution in real time. But it's not evolving, it's devolving, it's degrading, it's losing information. It doesn't have the receptors. So a thought experiment to help you follow, for those of you following along. The antibiotic is like handcuffs, and the bacteria have arms. So they come up to this wall, and all of the antibiotics handcuffs all of the bacteria, takes them to jail, and unalives them. But every 1 in a million bacteria, it's actually greater than that, but just to make the math simple, there is one bacteria that is born inferior. It doesn't have any arms. So the antibiotics cannot handcuff it. So it gets to survive. And it has children. And all of the children that gets the trait to have arms are unalived. But all of the children that don't get the trait from the parent, obviously, they get to survive and they get to reproduce. So eventually you will have a super strong antibiotic resistant bacteria, but it lost its arms. Now, the thing is you can live without your arms, but it's not evolution. The moment you put these E. coli bacteria, even the super strong, super resistant ones, back into the population, they almost always get outcompeted because they're degraded. They've lost information. They're not superior, they're inferior. Son of man, what's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm the one that just joined. My name's Jimmy, but if you want to talk to him first, that's fine.
Well, yeah, he was in here.
Good to go, man. I'm just here for some information, man. You know what I mean? I just happened to stroll by and seen your creation. I said, oh, my man is on. So, you know. But you can inform me, man. What is that DJT? What is that talking? What is that about?
Yeah, so if you've been surfing anytime, you might have seen the guy right before I started. He was live, and it's huge on TikTok. People saying that Donald Trump is the Antichrist. And it's huge. He had 350 people watching him live, and he tells people why the reasons that he believes Donald Trump is the Antichrist. So the only reason, I don't care who people voted. hold on one second, Jimmy. Let me get this out, and then I'll answer your question. I don't.
Well, it's about him. It's about the DJG.
Okay, well then let's please allow me to finish this right here.
Okay.
Yeah. So I want people to know that this is not a political live. I don't care if you listen to me, you're not going to come away thinking Trump's a good man. You're not going to think he's a bad man. I literally don't care about any of that. I do religious lives, and the only reason I mention this is because it's about the religion, the Antichrist, and Donald Trump just cannot fit that scripturally. It has nothing to do with do I like him or is he a good president or any. Y'all can figure that out for yourselves. It literally just I'm answering that because it's so big on TikTok where people are manipulating the words of the Bible in an effort to fit their theology.
So I have a question. Was this person, because I didn't see this person that you talk about, was this person saying that Donald Trump himself was saying that he was Lucifer, or was he saying that he was an ambassador or a prophet for that person?
Now, he said, I've debated him before. He's come in my room and I've been in his room. But if it's the same person we're talking about, and forgive me, I don't know his name.
I said I haven't seen this person.
Yeah.
Can you say his name? I can check him out later.
That's why I just said I've only met him twice, once in his and once in my room. And honestly, I can't remember his name. But he claims that Donald Trump is the Antichrist, not Satan, but the Antichrist.
Okay. Oh, the Antichrist. So that means that he is basically the prophet for Satan, or that he's an ambassador for Lucifer, right?
No, the prophet is not the same as the Antichrist, brother. You have the prophet, and then you have the false prophet, you have the Antichrist, and you have Satan. Those are three separate entities. They're not the same.
Okay. But I could consider Donald Trump a false prophet personally.
That's fine, but he's not. He doesn't fit the Antichrist though.
Okay.
Yeah. If you believe he fits the false prophet, then okay, that usually comes on the scene with the Antichrist. So I'd have to say the Antichrist is here, but I don't see him either.
Well, I think he kind of is. If you look at our government as a whole, if you look at the way that they propagate and the way that they use MK Ultra mind control on people, like I don't know what you think about. So obviously you don't believe in dinosaurs.
What?
Sir, and I agree with you on that.
No. Go. Wait, what? Why?
Dinosaurs in the flood there. Does that mean you really think that there were dinosaurs in the flood?
Yeah, they're in the Bible. Why wouldn't I believe dinosaurs?
You think the T-Rex and the Triceratops is in the Bible?
I think dinosaurs are in the Bible. It's behemoth, so it's probably this long neck type dinosaur right here. It's a sauropod dinosaur. Bible, bro. It's called behemoth. It's in the book of Job, Job 40. It says, "Behold now behemoth. He eateth the grass as the ox. He sways tail as the cedar. He can drink up a river, not just any river, but the Jordan River. His strength is in the navel of his belly. He's the chief of the ways of God," meaning this is one of the biggest animals that God ever made. But the important part there that you missed is that it says he sways his tail as a cedar. So the cedar trees of Lebanon is on their flag. It's the biggest trees, period. It's some of the biggest trees in the world. They're over harvested now, but obviously you got to think about the time when the Bible was written. They used these trees to even build Solomon's temple because it's a cedar. It's very light, but it's extremely, extremely large. And this animal's tail is compared to a cedar tree. So it literally doesn't fit any other description of any other animal that's ever existed with the exception of a sauropod dinosaur.
All right, so back on the evolution conversation here. I mean, I still don't see why new information would need to be gained. Say something duplicated one of its. So say you had duplication and you had loss at the same time. Like say someone lost genetic code, or say like a fish lost genetic code for one of its fins because it was useless. Like it doesn't need it doesn't use this fin anymore. It's not any survival use of this fish. So over the span of many generations, this fin has become obsolete to the point where it no longer exists. But in the meantime, other cells have been getting duplicated, other information has been duplicated, which allows room for other changes and other adaptations and so on and so forth. I think you still get the same point. And it's like the point I brought up to you earlier. What do you think a bunch of little microevolutionary processes happening over the span of hundreds of thousands of generations? What do you think that is? That's going to produce a completely different looking organism.
That's a statement. Can you support that statement with something that's testable and observable and not inferred?
Yeah, our entire archaeological record.
Okay, let me ask it again. Can you support that with something that's testable and observable, not inferred?
Archaeological record is hardly an
Okay.
inference, man.
All right. So if it's not inferred, give me one example out of the archaeological evidence, and tell me how it's not inferred.
Humans.
Okay. Humans.
I'll give you humans.
Humans and apes.
Yeah.
I would take it. All right. How is that not inferred, brother?
Because we can test DNA similarities.
Okay. DNA similarities are just as much evidence for common designer as it is for common ancestor. The same person wrote the code. It does make sense. The DNA.
I said in what sense?
Oh, sorry. I thought you said it didn't make sense. I apologize. The DNA that tells DNA is like a building block. Obviously, it tells your body how to build you and the structures. So the DNA that tells my body how to build a hand, 5 fingers. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you for the stickers. And I like the dinosaur. It's nice. That teaches you how to build a hand with 5 fingers, 2 eyes, a nose, a mouth, ears, legs, and an arm. They're going to be almost identical because they're building the same structure. So I would assume that they're going to be identical. Just because other animals have these same structures does not imply that we came from them or they came from us. It implies that the creator made them that way. So the DNA would be almost identical in those things, because they have the same structures and the same functions.
Well, I'm not making the claim that other organisms that exist today came from us or vice versa. I'm saying that the organisms that exist today, we share a common ancestor with. That's why we have similar DNA sequences.
Okay, and that is your claim. That's literally what I just said. Yep. So it also proves common designer just as much as it does common ancestor. In my opinion.
Now you're adding a completely different thing. So common ancestor is one thing, which absolutely has to exist in the case of having similar DNA sequences.
No, it doesn't.
Where do you get the designer from?
I literally just answered that. Come on, man. I literally just stated that the DNA sequences in an ape and a human for building the same structures clearly going to be very identical, because they build the same structures. Come on, brother.
What does it have to do with a designer?
Are you okay?
Yeah, I didn't even hear you mention the word designer in your argument, except for the conclusion.
All right. Yeah. So, all right. Yeah. All right, brother. I appreciate the conversation, man.
The only time you mentioned designer was in your conclusion.
Okay, brother. I'm tell you what, just for you, let me mark this down. I'll make a video of you and you can come back and watch it later, because I was trying to end this cordially, but I'm not trying to be disrespectful whatsoever. I've mentioned designer probably 3 times now, and you just don't listen. You're not listening. I've literally repeated it like 3 times now, man. So I'm going to tell you what, watch your clip back. Okay, bro, come back on my channel later and watch your clip back, because you are factually inaccurate and you can't follow. So the conversation is probably over. Okay, man.
Screenshotted your username. I will take a look at it in the next couple of days.
All right. Thank you, man.
All right. Catch you later.
Yep. Oh, 1631. You guys in the comments, y'all heard me say common designer like 3 times, right?
Yeah, I heard you mention it. I heard you mention it a few times.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Maybe if the audio skipped or something like that, then I don't want to be rude to the guy, because maybe it was an audio issue. I didn't understand. Didn't hear it. Probably should have checked that before I jumped all over him. But
yeah, you was breaking that handcuff bacteria thing down pretty good, where I could follow you. So
thank you, man.
I mean, if you want to pick back up where you was at, and keep on breaking it down.
Sure. So I got you. So when and I also talk to the people in the comments that also listen too. If y'all have been in my room anytime whatsoever, y'all see the common theme amongst evolutionists. All they have is degradation and microevolution. But for some reason, they will fight you tooth and nail to keep degradation. And if we're just intellectually honest, degradation could not possibly count as evidence for evolution, because you're not gaining any information there. But they want to keep it because it's all the evidence that they have is degradation.
Wow, that's heavy, man. That's heavy. And you're talking about just bacteria.
Yep. Well, I like to use bacteria because, again, evolution is not time-based. It's not. It's generational-based. And bacteria can have 9 generations in a single day.
Yeah, I last time I think I heard you. You're making me think about something I heard you mention before about, you were talking about carbon being in water.
Yeah.
And that it can reflect back to give you a false reading.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A false reading for generations, how long it's been around.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Daryl, what's up, man? Daryl. Is that your name? I can't see your whole name. You there, brother?
Oh, hey, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to come up. I just had my phone in my hand.
Okay.
I'm not even sure what we're talking about.
I'm talking about evolution is false, the flood was real, and Donald Trump is not the Antichrist.
I agree with all of it. I apologize. Like I said, I was putting my phone up on the mountain. I guess I asked to come up. I didn't mean to.
Nah, you're good, man. You're good. I'm going to drop you back down, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it. So with the evolutionists that I usually debate, obviously, you'll see a common theme. They will fight you with everything that they have to keep degradation, organisms losing information, because we can, if the things that they bring up evidently is something that they can see overnight. So if degradation happens so fast, then why don't we see information gain happen just as fast? If an organism's becoming useless because, first of all, a vestigial structure, there are no vestigial structures. But if I was to grant that and say, okay, we have these useless appendages and they're starting to go away, then why don't we see the gain? Why don't we see another structure just as fast as the other one degrades?
So let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
What would gain look like? Difference from degradation?
Yeah, it would have to be a new structure, new function, new DNA code, and obviously it would have to be from when it's not there before.
Something that grew.
Yeah, so I'm going to use an extreme example, but obviously it'll help bring it home. Like if you saw a dog one day with a set of wings, we know that wings are not in the dog DNA, right? There's no coding sequence for dogs to have wings. So if a dog one day grew wings, now I know it wouldn't happen like that, even according to their theory overnight, but I'm being semantic for a thought experiment just to show you. If we did see a dog start to have wings, obviously that would be evolution because wings are not in the genetic code for a dog to have.
You're making me think about the animation of the horse with the wings that they try to make that they project on.
Pegasus, yeah.
What's that creation?
Yeah, Pegasus. I think his name's Pegasus, right?
Yeah. I don't know what his name is, but you got me thinking about the horse with the wings. That he was my man too. You know what I mean? I was quite taken with him. Yeah, go ahead with your bad self.
Yeah. And if you cross a dog DNA with bird DNA, then there might be a possibility, but happen really slowly. Well, if we were able to do that as humans and we got smart enough to where we could cross DNA, then all that would prove is that it takes a intelligence to do it. So that would also prove God. If we could
said dog's DNA with the bird's DNA.
Yeah, there was a comment that said, because I talked about dogs not having birds. So somebody put in the comments that if we melded their DNA together and somehow made it work, we could do that. But and we have done something similar to this in labs. We can take human DNA for like building an ear, and we can put it on the back of mice, and mice have grown human ears on their back. Look it up. It's very strange. But that also proves that it's a designer. It takes intelligence to do that, right? So that would also prove God. If you can't have evolution without humans involvement, then obviously that would help prove design. It would help prove a God. Because you have to have intelligence to do it.
You know, I'm sitting here thinking about humans' DNA and animals' DNA. How critical is that?
Right. Very.
You say what?
I say, yeah. The DNA is a building block that tells our body how to build structures and stuff. And obviously that's why it's so similar in apes and humans, because we have a lot of the same structures.
No, I wasn't speaking about apes, the similarities.
Okay.
I was speaking about animals' DNA and mixing human DNA. How critical is that?
It's kind of, it's very, very, I would say strange, but yeah.
You never know what kind of creation would you think could come about that?
Yeah, exactly. Vandervon, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Doing good, brother.
So I just kind of wanted to start off with, I understood you talked about there having to be an intelligent designer required for life to exist or to be as created, having created humans and animals. I would disagree with that, because as we look out into the universe, we can see some of the major four elements that require life. We found them on other planets or other moons. And so the possibility for life is everywhere. And statistically, if we understand that the universe has billions and billions of planets, we eventually statistically had to be a probability to happen. Eventually, life would have the right condition. It would be called an empirical truth. Life would have the correct conditions and the correct elements to support life. We actually are the only planet that we know of that contains wood. You won't find it anywhere else in the galaxy, but yet we find human life, we find wood, we find animal fossils of animals that existed before humans did. And it's so evident that there isn't a creator behind that, or necessary for a creator, because we understand the God particle, the Higgs boson particle, and how that pulled everything that you and I know that we've seen in both the earth and in the universe. Everything that we know of was all put together by the Higgs boson particle. And we use that actually to find new forms of physics today.
Right. So can you give me what is the mechanism? Because what you're talking about is amino acids, and they do find amino acids on asteroids and other places. That's absolutely true, but that's not life. So that is the building blocks for life. So what is the mechanism that causes the amino acids to go into life? What is that mechanism?
The answer is it probably didn't start with amino acids.
Hold on, Leo. Let him answer that question, please.
Sorry, so you're asking what the mechanism that pulls them together?
No, that's the Higgs boson. I didn't ask that question. I asked what is the mechanism, because the building blocks for life that you mentioned that are all over the galaxy are amino acids. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but there's
also nucleic acids.
Great, but that's what you meant, right?
So it would be hydrogen, oxygen, or not oxygen, the hydrogen. And there's three other elements. I forgot them right off the top of my head.
Carbon, nitrogen,
carbon,
phosphorus, oxygen.
Okay,
hydrogen.
So you got all of the elements that you could possibly need for life. I'll grant you that. All over the space, all over the universe, everywhere. What's the mechanism that causes these ingredients to come to make life?
The right conditions.
Okay, I'll grant you the right conditions. What is the mechanism that causes life to start?
And most likely just RNA performing autocatalysis.
So that's a great question. I don't know the answer to that.
Excuse me. And that is an honest answer. So here's my problem. You have a problem. You have a problem, and you're missing your probability. So it's when you don't know it, and nobody does, because nobody has any clue whatsoever of how
pretty good models, actually.
No, you actually don't. If you did, you would.
Yes, we do.
No, you definitely don't, brother. Stop interrupting, or I'm going to kick you. Okay.
I'm a biologist.
Thank you. Have they ever created life in the lab?
Yes.
No, they haven't.
Define life.
Define life. Get off my stage, biologist. You're a biologist. Get off my stage. You don't know what I got to define life. What life is.
Disrespectful. Don't be rude and disrespectful. That wasn't okay.
Hey, guy. Listen.
You need to go back and apologize.
Hey, guy. Listen to me. Very, very simply.
Be
Okay.
civil about this
I don't,
and
man.
apologize.
If
It's
I was in a conversation
He
with
wasn't being
you,
rude and disrespectful with you. You did it.
get off my stage. What's going on today? These people are absolutely. You think that they created life in the lab? I'm being rude and disrespectful because somebody else interjected on our conversation. That makes me rude. I was having a conversation with you. Somebody else butted in, but I'm rude and disrespectful. But you think that they created life in a lab. That's what you think. No, they haven't. They haven't created life in a lab. And you have a biologist up here, evidently, that don't know what the definition of life is. Come on, get off my stage. I don't have time for that silliness. They haven't created life in a lab. So for you to say that it's mathematically plausible for us to have life elsewhere in the universe, but you don't know what the probability is of life just spontaneously, or the mechanism of life spontaneously coming together, you can't take that into account. So you can't say life is probably everywhere. You can't say that. And plus, I can show you that we haven't never found it anywhere. I don't mind letting you back up, bro, but I don't want to hear. I ain't got time for that crying, man. I ain't got time for that crying.
That wasn't okay. You're a liar and a con artist.
Do you want to finish the conversation? Do you want to finish the conversation?
You've really got to control yourself.
Don't do it. Listen, man. Okay? I ain't got time for that crying. Okay, I don't have time for crying.
Calm down and relax. Okay.
All right, get off.
Do this civilly. We don't have to worry about it.
I don't have to worry about it. Get off my stage. You're not intelligent enough for this conversation.
Relax.
Get off my stage. You don't want to have a conversation. You're not intelligent enough for this conversation. Life, what's up, man?
I want to become a historian.
What's that got to do with the topic, brother?
Well, you do Bible history, right?
Sometimes.
What are you doing today? It looks like evolution is false, the flood is real, and Donald's not the Antichrist.
Yep.
Okay, so what do you want to talk about?
It's up to you, man. You pick one of those and we'll go.
Does it have to be just those three?
I mean, if you have a question I can answer, I'll try to answer it. If I don't know, I'll say I don't know.
Well, can you scale history for me and explain to me, like, when was the Ice Age?
According to the flood model, it would have been right after the flood.
And what caused the Ice Age? That's
a great question. So there's some theories, and let me make sure that I'm saying that because honestly, we don't know. But the theory, one of the theory that I think that I would probably lean towards, I think is called the Hovind theory. I've heard it from Ken Hovind. I think that's probably the better ones that match. So the Jews taught that there was a crystalline canopy that encased the entire planet. Okay. Now, a crystalline canopy would have been frozen ice because the Bible says that there was water above the firmament and the birds fly in the open firmament. So clearly that's not there anymore. So we believe that's what fell during the Noah's flood. This canopy theory would create a hyperbaric-like conditions, and we see this in the fossil record. This is why dinosaurs used to get so big. This is why you see dragonflies with 3-foot wingspans when today they get this big. This is why you see centipedes that used to get up to 8 foot. These are insects, and they breathe through their skin, and they literally cannot get that big today because of our atmosphere. So whether you believe in the canopy theory or not, even if you're an evolutionist, you still believe that there was hyperbaric-like conditions in the pre-flood world or in, the age of the dinosaurs, if you will. If you ever hear the stories like the crypto stories of the dinosaurs, right, when people say that they went out in the like Mokele and Bimbe, when they went out into the jungle and they saw these dinosaurs, they're always dwarf dinosaurs. They're never as big as they used to be. And that's because if they lived in today's atmosphere, they couldn't get that big. If you could be like Jurassic Park and bring back the Brachiosaurus today, it could not get as big as it once did because the atmosphere would not allow it to get that big. Because if I'm not mistaken now, I'm pretty sure they believe now that the Brachiosaurus is a warm-blooded animal, meaning that it takes in oxygen and it needs oxygen like that to grow. So it couldn't get as big as it once did. So during the flood, we believe that there was a meteorite or a comet. And a comet has an ice tail, okay? So a comet hit the planet and broke up the fountains of the deep. This is where the water from underneath the crust come up. It rained for 40 days and for 40 nights. But more importantly, when you're in space, it's like 300 below zero. And a comet has an ice tail made of water, right? Super cold ice becomes magnetic. So if the comet would have hit the planet, then the tail, the ice, would have went to the poles because the ice would have been magnetized. So it would have went to the poles. This would have caused it to snow feet in seconds. It would have snowed 10 foot in less than a minute, right? And this would also be the reason why we see the woolly mammoth animals and stuff like that are frozen in the upright position. It snowed so fast that the woolly mammoths couldn't even fall over when they froze. And they flash froze. They froze so quickly that we can still see the plant matter in their mouth. And it's one of the things that we know, like woolly mammoths are found in really deep snow, obviously, so deep that they couldn't fall over. But the plants in their mouth are not wintertime plants. They have flowers in their mouth. So some cataclysm happened. We believe that it was the tail of the comet. And obviously because of that super cold ice causing it to snow, then the ice would have went all the way, down into the Americas and then up from the south, obviously. And this would have created the Ice Age. Excuse me.
And is that because of sin?
Yeah, ultimately, yeah.
So how does sin change God's creation?
It's it's Newton's second law of thermodynamics, we believe, kicked in when Adam sinned. Everything tends towards chaos and falls apart.
But if sin doesn't fit in with God's creation, why would he allow it?
Because you can't have it without choice, right? You can't have free will without it.
Does that mean God needs the devil?
No. It's just a reaction of the choice. So let me break it down like this. Do you have a wife or a significant other?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. I'll use myself as an example, right? I have a wife. Now, I love my wife, and my wife tells me she loves me, obviously. Now, I'm bigger and stronger than my wife, so I could grab my wife and threaten her with physical harm and tell her, "Tell me you love me." And she's going to tell me. So I could force her to do my will, just like God could make us choose him. But me as a man, I don't want that. I don't want to do that to my wife. I love my wife, just like God loves us. I want my wife to choose me of her own free will. I want my wife to want me the same way that I want her. I want her to love me the same way that I love her. That's God. Now, God is omnipotent, so he could make us love him, but that's not the same, right? He could make us, so he gave us the option to choose him or to not choose him, to make choices. And because we have that choice, sin exists. And if God intervened every time bad stuff happened, then would you still be here?
Well, why did he allow Adam and Eve to live after they rejected him?
I don't understand the question. Why would he not?
If Adam and Eve didn't want God, why did he allow them to live?
That's more of a God question, brother. That's something we'll have to ask him later. It's not something I can answer.
Well, can I say something to that, brother, on that note?
Sure.
He because he made provisions to reconcile them back to himself. He had a plan to reconcile humanity back to himself for their disobedience. That's why he told the woman that she will have a seed and it would bruise the serpent's head.
Yeah.
But I just don't understand, like, with all the... Oh boy, here we go. Okay, go ahead.
And what a creation? I wanted to ask you, man.
I have a question.
I'll get to you, Bob. Let me let him ask his question because he was in here before you, and then I'll come straight to you. Okay.
I heard that. Do you, from your information, do you see a canopy over the world, over the earth?
No clue. Honestly, I have no clue on it. I think that it fits, but it doesn't have to be there. I know the Jews taught that there was a crystalline canopy that encapsulated the entire planet. I do believe that there was one there. And the reason why is because the Bible doesn't say this, but you can infer it when you read it. Before the flood, people used to live to be 900 years old. And, the animals lived extremely long. There's new studies now that show that the Tyrannosaurus Rex wasn't mature until it was 40 years old. That's a problem for evolutionists, right? So it's not a problem for us. They need the animals to get really big, really, really quickly. And obviously us as creationists, we believe that these dinosaurs probably lived several hundred years just like the humans. And so it wouldn't be a problem for them to mature in their 40s. But something happened immediately after the flood. You see the ages drop off drastically. Obviously, it's anything anybody can do to be 100 now. And now when people are 100, they're falling apart. They're very old and decrepit, right? No, not hating on 100-year-old people, but it's just the way that it is. So something happened. And I think that we have this huge nuclear reactor that's warming our planet every day. A crystalline canopy would have blocked us from those rays. And just the sun rays coming into this planet, it's very harmful. It's UV radiation. We get skin cancers. It melts, it literally tears the paint off of your car. And it degrades everything in it. So I do personally believe, I couldn't prove that through science or anything. This is just my opinion. I do believe in the canopy theory.
But you said nuclear. You said nuclear sun. Oh, you speaking about the natural sun? Yeah, the sun is it's a nuclear reactor. It's shooting off radiation every day, all day. So you think that may have? So what you're saying is, if we had one, that would have been a problem.
Yeah, I think the canopy blocked the radiation. It allowed light in, but it blocked the radiation.
Okay, and that and blocking the radiation. What problem was that for mankind on the other side?
It wasn't a problem for them. That's why they lived to be 900. We have these charged particles now that come into our atmosphere that are super small that break away our DNA every time it hits us. It degrades us. They're like supersonic little bullets that go through us. And it breaks our genetic information. It breaks us down. That's why your skin starts to sag over many, many, many years, because you have this constant radiation that's bombarding us every day.
Because there is no canopy now.
Right. In my opinion, yeah.
Well, I don't mean to hop on the same thing. Yeah. Well, what destroyed that?
I personally believe, again, couldn't prove this through science. I personally believe that was when the comet hit. The comet hit. That's when the fountains of the deep broke open. It broke the canopy. The fountains of the deep broke open. It struck the earth. There's no doubt that a meteor struck the earth. I just think it was a comet.
Oh, you speaking about the flood?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, here's another question I need. Do you think we're sitting on a flat surface?
No, I don't. I do not. I'm not a flat Earth guy.
You're not a flat Earth guy?
No.
Okay. Now I was talking to this other girl who seemed quite bright. And she was talking about, we were talking about God, and she was talking about how when he first spoke, it was like him speaking into the waters, and some kind of light created in the water and created the stars. And what's your take on creation of stars?
And, God said he made them on day 4. So one of the funny things about stars is that God said he stretched them out like a cloth over a table. One, that's how Einstein shows his theory, right? He uses gravity like a cloth over a table. You stretch the cloth out. Another one's called the Doppler effect, the red shift. If the stars were stretched out, like the Bible says, 9 times, then we would expect to see stretched light everywhere we look. It's called the Doppler effect. And that's exactly what we see.
What do you mean 9 times?
In the Bible, God, I think it's 9 times in the Bible, it says that God stretched out the stars. He stretched out the heavens.
Okay.
Meaning that, the stars were here and he stretched them out. Right? So that's what it says. And like I said, when we look out into space, we see the red shift everywhere. So that's one of the things that helps prove the Bible, in my opinion.
Yeah, I've heard you talking about that, coming in blue and going back red.
Yep.
But
Bob,
do you think God's doing a good job with the way the Earth is?
I got you. Hold on 1 second, brother. I promise Bob I would answer his question, then I'll come back up to you. Go ahead, Bob.
Are you there?
Yeah, man. What's up?
Hold on a second. I'm here. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, brother. I can hear you.
We're here, Bob. Are you there?
Yes. Well, I truly believe in the grand design, and God has been here forever and ever, since before time.
All right, brother. Did you have a question?
And he spent a lot of time creating what he's created.
He didn't spend a lot of time doing it, Bobby. He only did it he did everything in 6 days.
Oh, well, what did he do for his past 10 billion years alive?
Obviously,
I think he had other universes he worked on.
That's what we don't know.
Well, hold on, brother.
Because
hold on, Bob. Bob, wait a minute.
Explain.
No. Let me answer that really quickly, okay? Because you threw something out there. I don't grant you millions or billions of years. Secondly, even if I would, then you're still putting God inside of time, and that's a fallacy. God is outside of time.
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
That's why when God created mankind, he created mankind to live forever. And in a perfect world, in perfect conditions, it's already proven by science that the human body can last forever in perfect conditions.
Okay.
So be that. Don't you think when Jesus comes back and we're all reunited together, what do you think we're going to spend the next 10 billion years doing?
Well,
we're going to be learning. We're going to be learning. We're going to be traveling. We're going to be seeing what God has done in his past and the future.
Okay.
My God is.
Did you you said you had a question though, Bob? Do you have a question?
Well, my question is everybody gets on here and argues about the flood, the ice age. Well,
It was global.
There was a flood and there was an ice age, but the ice age was long before the flood.
Okay. Thanks, Bob. Appreciate it. Life. What was your next question, man?
My question is, I'm suspicious about God. I imagine there is a God, but I don't really think he's doing a great job.
Okay, that just sounds kind of weird from somebody that at least believes there is a God. You just believe that you believe in a God, but for lack of a better term, a moronic
I feel like he's
God.
indifferent. I feel like he's indifferent to our problems.
Okay.